Alright, so getting ready to make some applesauce here today. Got the granddaughters giving us a little bit of help. They did a pretty good job on helping pick the apples, so I just wanted to show you our operation here before we get started, and then I'll bring you some updates as we go along. But started out with these 4 buckets of apples off our trees, and so from there I'm gonna bring them over. I've got this peeler core mounted on a piece of board inside the bucket of the tractor, which works great because all the scrap goes into the bucket. And then from there, which I know this is gonna maybe be different for a lot of people, is I took an old hand cranked grinder, and you can see I'm powering it with a cordless ratchet after the apples come off of the peeler, and they're going in here and getting ground where we can sit the stock pots right here on the ground underneath. Everything will fall into the stock pots. Once they're full, the stock pots are going to go where you see them right now. I got 2 burners set up on a splitter, propane operated, and to get the fire set right so we can get them cooking down, and should be making lots of yummy applesauce here. So I'll bring you some updates. Alright, just thought this might be something different you'd like to see. Alright, bringing you a little update here. Turns out that the grinder's working well. I know a lot of people don't grind their apples, but the longest part about cooking apples down is getting the chunks down to sauce. So my thought was, why not have them in smaller pieces before you ever start the cooking process? So that's why we're using this old grinder. Turns out, even turning it as slow as we can with the cordless tool, that it was wanting to splatter the apples. So excuse me, just real quick, I grabbed an old peanut butter jar and made a cover. So what I did was found one that would just fit over the end of the grinder, cut a portion of it out, and stick it on there for a shield. And now it splatters inside, but it all drops into the stock pot. So not only is this going to cook down a lot faster, but you're going to be able to get a lot more apple. I mean, what you end up with by volume is going to be a lot more. So anyways, Mrs. C is taking the apples as I take them off of the peeler core, set them in this bowl. She's cutting some of the bad spots out of them and puts them over into the grinder, and so we got a pretty good little operation going on here. All the scraps come off the peeler and land into the bucket. Doesn't make a mess. So I've got a lot of work ahead of us, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, these 4 buckets are just a fraction of the amount of apples that we need to process, so better get busy. Bring you some more action later.
What's going on? Riley, stop!
Hey, back again. Day 2 of applesauce production, and been raining off and on first half of the day anyway, so we ended up first thing this morning moving everything into the garage and finished up the last of the apples. Things have went really well. Got two last stock pots full of apples going right now, and gonna let them get cooked down some, and then we're gonna start processing everything we did yesterday into smaller containers, and some of it we're going to leave on a little on the chunky side, and some of it we're going to we'll run a mixer in it and smooth it out a little bit. Some people like it chunky, some people like it smooth. So anyways, here's what we got going on. Looking really good, and it's a combination of apples. There's some McIntosh, some Red Delicious, and quite a few Granny Smith, a few Lodi, just a little bit of everything. We make everything so that it's unsweetened. We don't put any sugar, any cinnamon, anything in it, because we give a lot of it away as gifts, and we tell everybody, season it the way you like it. If you want it sweeter, if you want cinnamon, whatever, add that in yourself. But basically, this is how we do it. And the reason I decided to go with a grinder is because even though I'd watched a lot of videos on how other people do their applesauce, and I get it if you have a processor that actually you can run the large chunks through and it separates the seeds and the skins, and I don't have that. So although it could be an investment down the road. So the biggest hassle is always the knife work, getting the chunks down small enough so it doesn't take forever to cook them, or to have to blend them to get the smoothness, the consistency that you want out of them. So that's why I decided to try and run everything, the raw apples, through a grinder. Yesterday I did the coarse blade, and everything that I ground today I did the finest blade. So it'll be neat to compare that, and I'm sure it's going to cook down so much faster that way, and you don't end up with all these air spots either. I mean, what you end up in your stock pot with, that's pretty much going to all be sauce, and that's not the case when you start with a lot of big chunks. So anyways, let me know what you think about that, because it's a little bit different than anything I've seen anybody else do, but I can tell you that it has speeded our process up tremendously by running the apples through a grinder. So I think that's going to be about it. I might bring you something here once we get blending and transferring all the big stock bowls and stuff into smaller containers. I'll maybe show you a little bit of that. So anyways, that's us doing applesauce this year. Alright guys, back one last time here. It's getting late. We're trying to finish up the last of this. Just took the last out of the stock pots, put it in some bowls to start cooling, start blending, and get it transferred into smaller size containers. So this is what we ended up with. Got a lot of applesauce here, and it's going to go a long ways. Already have whole top shelf in this freezer. So anyways, probably going to be at this at least another hour out here, and then start carrying everything in the house and start washing stock pots and cleaning everything up. So anyways, that's going to be the applesauce making for 2021. So hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you later.